Hey folks, Holly here from ARC Social Media. Welcome to ARC's Business Boost, our episode 2. And I'll have Kristy Brown with, she's a holistic nutritionist, and she heard me talk in another video about Amherst and I don't want to keep reiterating this, but the impression that maybe Amherst is sort of depressed. All right, so you responded to the post I put up the other day about feeling like Amherst might be depressed, or like, you know, my perspective and a couple members of my team that there's like a depression in the town. So you mentioned nutrition, and we were just got started talking, and then I decided to put the mic on, and you were just about to talk about your background in holistic nutrition and how that feeds into what you think is happening with Amherst.
Right. So like I said, I'm not from here. I didn't grow up here, but I feel like Amherst is my home. I've been here since 2000 is when I moved here. I graduated from the high school here and have friends here. I've had friends here forever, and my family lives here. We've raised our children here. When I turned 33, I had no idea what I was doing with my life. I was in a really tough spot mentally and physically, and...
Is that around the time that we met a few years ago?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It was. Yeah. Probably shortly after.
Okay.
Or maybe even before that.
Yeah.
I decided that I needed to do something. I had to change something because things in my life that were happening, I didn't have a lot of control over. Like my job, I couldn't get out of my job. I was stuck. And we couldn't move from the town because my husband has a job that's the kind of job you have to be in one spot for. Like, it's not a job that's available everywhere.
Right.
So he can't just say, okay, yeah, let's move to Moncton or let's move to Halifax or whatever. So I had to figure out what I could take control over to make me feel better and maybe make my life a little better, make me happier, because what was going on in my life just wasn't doing it.
It wasn't working.
I was heavier than I wanted to be, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this program and I'm gonna start eating healthier, and maybe that'll fix it. And I know a lot of people have that mentality. Like, if I was just thinner, I'd be happier. If I just looked a little prettier, I'd be happier. And that's where it kind of started for me. And it wasn't the weight loss that helped me, because after a month, I wasn't even thinking about that. It was my mental health that completely changed.
Because you were eating differently.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we went from, we were kind of busy. I would say we were a young family. Like, our youngest was a year old and, well, two years old, I guess. And so they were young. Like, we had a son in hockey, a daughter in gymnastics, and the littlest one was just kind of hanging around. So we weren't as busy as we are now. Right. So I couldn't contribute how I was feeling to the chaos in my life because it wasn't that. But we couldn't afford to eat out all the time, but we did buy frozen French fries and frozen pizzas and chicken nuggets and...
high sodium, easy to make
absolutely.
Real fast. Yeah.
And I'd have a bowl of ice cream at night, or we'd sit and eat a bag of chips between the two of us kind of thing, and... we were like, oh, we don't eat that bad. Like, we eat vegetables sometimes. Right. I have yogurt every morning for breakfast. Yeah. And so I honestly, if you had asked me, I'm like, I don't eat bad. Like, I eat well because we didn't eat out, but we still ate poorly. Right. So I started consciously adding vegetables into my diet and fresh fruits or frozen fruits into my diet and cutting back on the grains. That was the biggest thing for me, was cutting back on the grains, and my mind was blown, absolutely blown. Really? I could not believe the difference in how I felt within just a couple of weeks because of changing what I was eating.
I think the grains would be a tough one. That would be the toughest for me, I think.
It is. Yeah. It is hard, and like I said, it's not easy, and even still, like, I have days where I just want to pig out and sit on the couch like a blob, but it blew my mind, and I started researching and reading and thinking, and it just made me want to know more. I needed to know why and how and what this effect was, and what exactly it was that was causing this change in me, and why it caused me to feel so badly about myself before. Because I wasn't, like, extremely overweight or anything. No. And nobody would have ever said, like, oh my God, you need to go on a diet kind of thing. So
So what did you find, like with all the research? Is there a way to summarize it, or are you just digging in now?
I found holistic nutrition and learned about healing through foods rather than medicines. And I started taking, so that was about in March. I can't think of the year right now, but when I was, 3 years ago, I guess now.
Yeah. So would that have started after you and I met then? Because we would have met in 2016 near the end of the year.
Yeah, so it would have been 2016.
Okay. You had already started that process.
Year, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So I was working at the bank in Moncton, and my job got eliminated. So that would have been in March around my birthday that I was like, this is my year. This is the year I'm taking control. So my job got eliminated. So excited to hear
somebody say that, though, really, That's awesome.
So my position was eliminated in May, and then we would have met probably August or so.
Yeah, it would have been September probably.
Something, yeah. So, and it was hard because still I was going through this whole mental change. Yeah. And I mean, you can't change your entire life in a year kind of thing. No. So, but in that, and when I came to you, I knew that I wanted to do something. I knew that I wanted to learn something. I wanted to go back to school, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do or even how that was going to happen.
Right.
And but come December, like that's when I was really getting into the thick of learning about nutrition and what it does to your body. And my family has a lot of, I won't say health issues, but kind of health issues. Like I had a grandmother who had Alzheimer's, and my aunt passed away from cancer that same year.
Okay.
My sister and many family members before her have had thyroid issues.
Okay.
And my mom just recently got diagnosed with Parkinson's. So there's a lot of things that I'm kind of like, well, why is this happening? There has to be a reason. It's not like, oh, well, this person's going to get this and this person's going to get that. Like there's got to be a reason behind it. And that's the mentality behind holistic nutrition. There's a core reason. It's not just something that happens, you give medicine and it gets better kind of thing.
Yeah. So have you been studying this formally or just on your own?
In December, I found a holistic nutrition program online.
Cool.
Through Nutriforia School of Holistic Nutrition. They're located in BC.
Okay.
So in January, I officially enrolled.
Awesome.
And I studied for a year. I'm a certified holistic nutrition coach now.
Cool.
I am certified. I'm registered, but I'm not practicing.
How come?
Because it's
opportunity.
Hard. Yeah.
So you work full time?
I do.
And you have 3 kids?
Yes.
And so given that, so I think this really ties in well in a broader way even than I was originally thinking, like in terms of me thinking about the history of business and how business seems to be depressed here in Amherst, Cumberland County probably. And so this ties in 2 ways because, definitely, I don't know anything near what you know about food and how it works, but I do know that it works that way. And there are, if we ate better, we would feel better in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me, too, because there's a huge opportunity here, business-wise, for you in this realm. And now, like, my first thought is, well, it would be really hard to set up shop and start being profitable because this is a small town. People don't have a ton of, I guess you would have to call this, like, what's the word I'm looking for? But like an extra expense, almost extracurricular expense, even though it really would be great if it were covered. You know what I mean? But people would need to pay you cash for this service, and it would be fairly pricey given what I know about holistic medicine. So our community doesn't really have the means to do that, to support you as an entrepreneur in that area. But I can think of other people in our area who work in fitness, who work in mental health, like counselors and things like that, who work in all kinds of different areas that I would say there's opportunity there for partnership and to build like sort of a central place where at least if you're not there full time, because you need to eat, you need to feed your family, and maybe even if you were in a collaboration with other people, you might not be able to do it full time still, but at least there would be a center there that exists all the time that people know about. And if you're all, pooling your resources together, then promotions happen and more awareness. And I think, I've got a few people right on top of my head right now who I know could also benefit from that, because they're kind of in a similar situation where they're doing good work. But how do you get your feet off? Like, how do you get it off the ground without some support in a depressed So, yeah, I don't want to use the expression or the term depressed economy because I'm sure that has an actual definition in economic terms, but for casually using that expression, in a depressed economy, it would be really hard to get this off the ground for someone who does your kind of work. But so awesome if you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you had posted about it, I typed a bit and I deleted it and I typed more and I deleted it and I was like, okay, I'm just going to say this and leave it at that. Because there's so much to be said. And this, I feel personally, and not speaking as someone who has a business idea that would like to get it off the ground, because I know that it's hard to get it, that kind of business. It's like, I used to have a cake business, and to have that kind of business in a town like this
so niche.
Is hard.
Yeah, for sure. However, I believe that you have something to offer the community. Like, you have an idea of what's wrong with the community, some of what's affecting some of our depression, and a means to kind of help us through that. You know, for me, it's communication. For me, what I feel that I can contribute is communication about it, and hopefully encouraging more people like yourself to come forth and offer the part of the solution that you can offer. You know, like, it takes all of us to kind of be like, actually, this is how I can help. You know, and again, I don't want to ever make it sound like I don't think there are people already doing this, and I just need to always take a moment in these recordings to make sure that people know I'm not trying to say that nobody's working hard at this, because I know people are working hard and they deserve that credit. But there are so many opportunities, and so I guess my thing is like, how could you / we / the community help position someone like yourself to be able to provide these services to the community?
Right. And that's
the big question.
Where I draw the blank, because part of my course was a blueprint for business. And it was about pricing and making
that would be out of BC, though. In BC, it's a completely different market, right?
But they talk about how much time does it take you to create your programs? How much time does it take you to research? If you're meeting with a client one-on-one, how much time are you spending with them? How much time do you work on it behind the scenes? Things like that. And to provide the kind of service that would be expected with this sort of business. I mean, it would cost hundreds of dollars a month for a person. For sure,
especially if you had overhead.
Right.
But like, let's say you were working with someone who helped train people to use and just to be more fit, right? So someone who focuses, and the person I'm thinking of, I think they mostly focus on the physical aspect. I'm sure they talk about the nutrition aspect as well, but I believe that their area is the fitness. So even if it were a matter of kind of partnering with other people so that the client then gets more rounded full service from a team, from a multidisciplinary team, where maybe not everybody is making a ton of money at first, but has an opportunity to get their name out and get their information out to people and help some people.
And I've come from a perspective that this isn't a town that has the money. Majority of the people don't have the money to pay for something like that. And we have people in town who provide services similar to what I would do, and they charge a fair amount based on what they do, but it's not something that people can afford. It's not something that the jobs that are in Amherst don't provide enough income to allow that for people. It's enough to be able to afford to go to the gym, let alone something like that.
Absolutely.
So it's hard. And so I spent a long time struggling with that and trying to figure out the best way to provide something for people to allow them to have a little bit of information and not pay a huge amount of money or anything at all. So I have my page on Facebook.
Okay, what's your Facebook page?
Kristy's Corner.
Kristy's Corner, Kristy.
Korner.
Korner. Okay, good to know.
And that came from Daryl Cole.
Nice. Shout out to Daryl. Kristy's Corner. All right, I'll make sure I post that.
So I was posting in there, and I mean, I get some shares. People comment.